When we look out into the night sky, it is incredibly easy to be overwhelmed by the sheer, staggering scale of the cosmos. Just billions of stars, planets, and galaxies, all seemingly scattered at random across the void. And yet, beneath all that apparent chaos, there are profound, elegant laws of physics governing every single orbit and every interaction. Well, today, in this explainer, we're going to explore a universe that feels just as chaotic, but it's much closer to home, the universe of human choices. We're going to see how our individual, seemingly completely unpredictable desires, who we want to work for, who we want to marry, what college we want to attend, somehow naturally coalesce into a beautiful, mathematically stable harmony.
Okay, to really wrap our heads around this, we first have to grapple with human uncertainty. The economist John Maynard Keynes famously described uncertainty not just as a lack of data, but as a profound unknowability. Think about a massive real-world market. Imagine thousands of medical interns desperately trying to find hospital placements, or students applying to universities, or literally thousands of people navigating housing assignments in a crowded city. Every single individual in that system has their own private, fiercely held preferences. It's like a swirling nebula of human desires. From the outside, it looks like a system that could never, ever be perfectly rationalized or organized. But as you'll see, mathematics tells a very different story.
So what brings order to all this chaos? It's a mathematical concept called stable matching. I want you to imagine this as a sort of cosmic equilibrium. In the context of our human universe, a stable matching is essentially a perfectly divorce-proof state. It means that absolutely everyone, whether we're talking about hospitals seeking interns, companies looking for workers, or people looking for partners, settles into a perfect state of gravitational harmony. In a completely stable market, there is no pair of agents out there who are not currently matched, but who would both prefer to break their current bonds to be together. Basically, everyone is exactly where they're supposed to be based on the laws of mutual attraction.
To understand stability, you kind of have to understand instability first. Think of an unstable system as being full of rogue elements. In math, we actually call these rogue elements a blocking pair. This would be like a company and a worker who suddenly realize, hey, wait a minute, I prefer you over my current match, and you prefer me over yours? Let's break our current orbits and pair up. As long as even one of those blocking pairs exists, the whole system is fundamentally unstable. Now, contrast that with a stable equilibrium, where every single element is perfectly locked in. Even if, say, a student wants to go to a better university, that university doesn't want them back over the students it already has. There's just no mutual gravitational pull strong enough to break the existing bonds.
For the longest time, the only way we knew how to actually achieve this harmony was by forcing it, literally forcing it through a machine. Back in 1962, mathematicians David Gale and Lloyd Shapley invented a brilliant mechanical algorithm to find this exact equilibrium. Think of it like a brute force engine that just churns strict preferences until an equilibrium pops out. Step 1. One side, let's say the workers, proposes to their absolute favorite companies. Step 2. The companies hold on to the best offer they receive and reject all the rest. Step 3. Those rejected workers then propose to their second choices. The companies look at the held offers, look at the new offers, keep the best, reject the rest. And this process just churns and churns, step by step, until absolutely no new proposals are made.
What we have on our blackboard right now is a true historical artifact. This is the original text outlining Gale and Shapley's deferred acceptance algorithm. In the math world, this is what's known as a constructive proof. See, they didn't just theoretically state that a stable matching exists somewhere out there in the ether. They built a mechanical procedure that absolutely guarantees you will find it. If you feed all the strict preferences of every single agent into this algorithm, it will construct a stable, divorce-proof matching every single time. It is a completely flawless piece of mathematical engineering.
And this is where it gets really interesting. We have to pause and ask a surprisingly profound question. If this machine works perfectly, if the algorithm builds the exact harmony we're looking for, why on earth did mathematicians spend the next 3 decades desperately searching for a non-constructive proof? Why did they want so badly to prove this harmony exists without actually using the machine to build it? Why does the pure logic of the mathematical universe demand that we look past this incredibly rigid mechanical engine?
Well, the answer lies in the fact that reality is messy, and more importantly, reality is fast. Real-world markets do not have infinite time. Imagine trying to run that slow, step-by-step proposal process in a blazing fast labor market. Companies make offers, people hold them, other people get rejected, new offers are fired off rapidly. It just takes way too long. Before the algorithm can finish its methodical churning, the market season ends. A company gets tired of waiting and just leaves a position vacant for the year. The mechanical engine literally breaks down because it cannot process every single proposal before the clock runs out,
which leads to instability and empty jobs. The machine is just, frankly, too slow for the blistering speed of human life.
Enter Brazilian mathematician Marilda Sotomayor. In 1996, she published a completely groundbreaking paper that just threw the step-by-step algorithm out the window. Instead of trying to build the match from the ground up, she orchestrated this massive mathematical paradigm shift. She zoomed way out to look at the structural truth of the entire system. She realized that to truly understand stable matchings, you have to stop staring at the gears of the machine and start looking at the fundamental laws of the space itself. She expanded our view into a much larger cosmos that she called simple matchings.
Let me give you an analogy that I absolutely love for this. Think of the constructive algorithm as a person standing in a Zen garden holding a rake and an incredibly dense instruction manual. They are laboriously dragging that rake, moving every single grain of sand step by step to force the garden into a state of balance. Sotomayor's non-constructive proof is entirely different. It's like sitting on a bench overlooking that exact same garden, understanding the inherent laws of physics, and proving through pure, flawless logic that a perfect state of harmony inherently must exist, without you ever having to lift a tool or rake a single grain of sand.
So how exactly did she pull this off? Well, she zoomed out to a broader universe of what she defined as simple matchings. Now, a simple matching isn't perfectly stable just yet. It's a state where a blocking pair might exist, meaning there might be a man and a woman, or a firm and a worker who still want to break orbit and pair up. But in this specific universe of simple matchings, if a blocking pair exists, it always involves an unmatched woman. By creating this slightly asymmetrical, more relaxed set of rules, Sotomayor created a much larger, simpler playground of possibilities, which actually paved a purely logical pathway straight to ultimate stability.
Now, stick with me here, because within this larger universe, she started looking for a mathematical maximum, a state known in economics as being weakly Pareto optimal, for one side of the market, let's say the men. Simply put, this just means finding a simple matching, where it's literally impossible to move to another configuration that makes all the men at least as happy, while making at least one man strictly happier. Because the number of possible states in the system is finite, a mathematical peak has to exist, and here is the sheer genius of it. Sotomayor proved that if you find this optimal state within this broader, simpler universe, that state is naturally, inherently a stable matching. She proved its existence through pure logic, rather than mechanical construction.
So, why is this non-constructive approach such a game changer for the messy reality we just talked about? Well, human beings are wonderfully indecisive. We don't always have strict preferences. We often have non-strict preferences, meaning we might be completely indifferent between two jobs or two housing assignments. It's a tie. Mechanical algorithms absolutely panic when there's a tie. They're fragile, they stumble, they break, and they force developers to invent completely arbitrary tie-breaking rules just to keep the machine from crashing. But Sotomayor's elegant non-constructive proof? It absorbs human indifference effortlessly. Because it relies on the structural truth of the whole system, it handles both strict and non-strict preferences seamlessly.
And the sheer beauty of stepping back to see the whole system is that it reveals hidden mathematical architecture. By looking at the problem non-constructively, Sotomayor and other mathematicians have shown that the entire set of possible stable matchings isn't just a random list of outcomes. No, it forms a beautiful, highly structured algebraic framework known as a lattice. Every single possible stable outcome is connected in a precise mathematical web known as a partial ordering. You literally cannot see this hidden lattice when you're busy raking the sand. You can only see it when you step back and observe the whole garden.
This is where human behavior and pure mathematics perfectly overlap. When you look at thousands of people aggressively pursuing their own independent, entirely selfish preferences, it really does look like a recipe for eternal cosmic chaos. But what this theory proves is that beneath that chaos, our collective choices naturally coalesce into mathematically stable outcomes. The swirling nebula of the labor market, the university admissions process, or finding an apartment is ultimately governed by profound, elegant laws of algebraic truth. Which brings us to a truly staggering thought to end our explainer on today. We love to think of our personal choices, our careers, our relationships as entirely of our own free will, messy, unpredictable, uniquely human. But if our most complex, chaotic choices are actually bounded and guided by such an inescapable underlying mathematical harmony, are we truly writing our own stories, or are we simply, beautifully, acting out the equations of the cosmos? I will leave you to ponder that one. Thanks for exploring the universe with us today.